podcast where best friends and next-door neighbors, Willow and Lillian, spill the tea on murder, mysteries, and other things that go bump in the night. So get your favorite teacup ready, and let's get into it. Welcome to Cruelty Podcast. This is Lillian, and with me is Merris for a Merris Monday.
Hello.
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 So we're going to be talking about the still missing Malaysian Flight 370.
Oh, all right. I don't know anything about that because it's not paranormal. So what's it doing here?
Well, you take that back because there's some conspiracies that have weird stuff.
How weird are we? Do we got some krakens or
no krakens,
sea monsters?
No sea monsters, unfortunately.
What do we got? What's going on here?
Aliens. I'm gonna cover number one. If you've never heard of this, I don't know how, but if you haven't, I cover the whole thing, and then I'm gonna break down the various theories of what we think happened to the plane.
Okay, and the people are missing. We want to be respectful.
Yes,
yeah,
we are. There are 239 people missing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go off. There are some speculations I think are so dumb that I'm not even going to touch them.
Okay, well, can we just fondle them a little bit? I like hearing stupid stuff, knowing that it's stupid.
Yeah. So the Malaysian passenger plane that vanished on March 8th, 2014, with a total loss of the crew and all passengers. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
A total of 239 people lost in one day. But where and why?
Why?
So this is a very complicated case with a lot of theories and everything. So we're going to go over what we definitively know first.
Okay. All right.
So on March 8th, 2014, 41 minutes past midnight, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 takes off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport headed for Beijing, China. The flight is supposed to be around 6 hours long. It's an overnight flight, so it's chill. The environment for these, I want to debunk something before we even get started.
Like I said, I don't know shit about this case. I know that a plane went missing, and then I thought at once upon a time that some dude off of Australia or something found debris, but that's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, sort of. I'll get into that.
Yeah.
But what I want to debunk right away is the last communication from the pilot to air traffic control was good night. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people thought that was sinister. It isn't. That is very common to say between air traffic control, especially during the time it was said, and we'll get to that in just a minute.
Really reading into it.
People really went off the deep end on this one.
He said hello.
Yeah.
It's sinister.
So everything appears to be normal. The weather is clear. The captain of the flight is Zahari Ahmed Shah. He is a seasoned pilot and has been flying since 1981. His co-pilot is Farik Abdul Hamid, and he's pretty new, just out of flight school. I mean, he's been flying a lot, but he's never flown this type of plane, which is a Boeing 777. So Boeing.
Are those big ones? I don't know shit about planes.
It's a big daddy, yeah.
Okay.
This plane is not not full, because this is an overnight flight.
It's near 300 people. That's a lot.
And it's early Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. He's very qualified, though, the Hamid is, so it's all good. He has a few quirks, and this is mentioned in a lot of conspiracy theories. He had a tendency to let guests into the cockpit.
I'm sorry, say it again.
He let guests into the cockpit, kids and stuff who wanted to see it. Mm-hmm. Not the most professional, but he was a good guy. And I'm just not even going to go into the theories that he let crazy people into the cockpit because it's stupid. Mm-hmm. And no evidence points to that whatsoever. So Farik sends a text message on WhatsApp right as the plane is about to take off, and then turns off his phone, which is customary and protocol as they're taking off. And this becomes important later, so I just put a pin in that.
All right.
So the Boeing 777 climbs to a cruising altitude of 35,000 feet and is in regular contact with air traffic control as they embark on their journey over the South China Sea. A little less than 20 minutes into the flight is when things start to get weird. The plane is leaving Malaysian airspace, headed into Vietnamese airspace. There's something called a handoff that happens between air traffic control and the pilot of MH370. And that's where air traffic control in Vietnam takes over, meaning they will no longer be talking to Malaysian air traffic control.
They moved into a new area.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This is standard operating procedure. So at 1:20 a.m., Zahari, the pilot, says goodnight to Malaysian air traffic control. It is now protocol for Zahari to call into Vietnam's Ho Chi Minh air traffic control tower. But he doesn't. In fact, this will be the last communication from the plane. 90 seconds later, the plane goes dark. Well, electronically speaking, it completely disappears off air traffic control's radar. And that's not supposed to happen.
No, okay.
Now, this is kind of complicated, and a lot of people don't understand how airplanes work. I was included in this until I did the research for this Merris Monday. But you have two transponders in the nose of the plane.
Okay.
And this is called the ACARS system. So I'm now going to explain all of that.
Okay.
So what appears to have happened is that someone in the cabin, either the pilot or co-pilot, switched off the ACARS system of the plane. What is the ACARS system? In aviation, ACARS is an acronym for Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System. It is a digital data link system for transmission of short messages between the aircraft and ground stations via airband radio or satellite. So how would one turn off this system? One way of stopping the ACARS system from working is to simply pull a circuit breaker within the flight deck, and that's going to be the control panel in the cockpit.
Okay.
This would stop electronic power being supplied to the system. And the other way is ACARS can be disabled by switching off inside the cockpit the use of VHF and SATCOM channels. That did not happen, though. And I'll tell you why. Because SATCOM, that means satellite communication, obviously, was still on the plane. So that was still on, but the transponders in the ACARS system are turned off. That means the pilot or co-pilot manually pulled the circuit breaker.
Right, okay. And this is facts, right?
This is a fact.
Okay. Not speculation. Because when you tell the story, I always just picture it in my head what's going on.
Yes, I'm trying to make it real clear.
Setting the scene, yeah.
We are setting the scene. The only reason a person would do this is to conceal the flight path of the plane, to go dark to radar. Though it's important to note, military and even some civilian radar would still see Flight 370. It would just appear as unidentified. Because when you turn off the transponders, it's the signature of that plane. So it's still going to be picked up on military radar, obviously.
Right, you're not totally invisible to everybody. That's impossible.
No, because you're metal and in the sky.
And there's a lot of people tracking you.
Supposedly.
Right.
But... Okay, so here's what's happening, at fucking the air traffic control tower. It sees Malaysia go off radar, and it's like,
hey.
Uh-oh. So it tries to contact the plane.
Right.
Hey, where are you? What happened? Are you okay?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
They get in touch with Ho Chi Minh's air traffic control. They don't see him either, and they have received no communication. This is weird. So, of course, they're already running around scrambling. The plane's lost.
Right. As soon as, something's up, you sound the alarms.
But Malaysian Airlines, which is owned by the Malaysian government, fails to communicate this to the media or to the families of the people on board. And when I say failed to communicate it, I mean they wait hours and hours and hours and hours.
So they never said there's something wrong. They do say it, out.
But much later. They know something's wrong 90 minutes into this flight.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting on it. And I think that's unconscionable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I'll get into that. Kind of plays into our theories later. So another possibility for the ACARS being disabled is that there is a fire on board of the plane.
Okay.
The flight was carrying a large quantity of lithium batteries in the cargo hold, and this is going to sit right underneath the cabin where the pilots are.
And lithium batteries, they're like little bombs.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if people know that, in your headphones and stuff, or in your cell phone even. If something goes wrong with the battery, it is a bad time. Like, I've seen it on YouTube.
Yes, and if there was a fire, it could have damaged the ACARS system.
Right.
And the protocol for fire on a plane is landing that plane immediately. So it was possible that there was a fire on the plane and the pilot landed on one of the islands in the South China Sea, and that would have caused him to disappear off radar. Mm-hmm. But there are several problems with this theory, even right away before the search. If there was an emergency landing situation, you mean to tell me not one passenger texted or called a loved one? Everyone on that plane, predominantly, there's some Australians. I think there's a person from New Zealand, from France, and one person from the United States. And, of course, some Malaysian people on the plane. Mostly, though, it's Chinese people. And they're all engineers that actually work for this one company based out of San Francisco. They're tech engineers.
Okay.
And these people have as many as 2 to 3 phones on their person.
Yeah.
Because they're having to constantly be in contact with different people.
It would sound all kind of alarms.
They would text.
Yeah.
Like, hey, plane's on fire. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh,
and
we've been hijacked.
Things like that.
Yes, but none of that is going on. And we're going to talk, because this is, to me, the weirdest part, is that no one on that plane, well, almost no one, turns their phone on. That's strange.
Well, I mean, that's procedure. You have it in airplane mode?
Yes. So here's what these little breadcrumb clues tell me, is that the co-pilot and the passengers are not aware that the pilot has turned off the ACARS system. It's not a fire. The pilot has switched it off for some reason.
So that's the most likely scenario so far.
So far. We don't know why he switched it off. Right. Just that someone had to have, because the fire thing doesn't work unless the plane exploded. But we know that this is not where the plane crashed or when the plane crashed.
I feel like we would, like, the people on the ground would know if a plane exploded. Because
nope, no? We'll get to that.
Okay,
this whole thing is a huge mess, and there's a lot of conspiracies.
Yeah, well, I am also stupid, so let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're all very dumb.
Yeah.
Because so what I think happened is that the pilot surreptitiously removed the circuit breaker for the ACARS system, and the co-pilot and passengers had no fucking clue.
Right.
So when the plane is supposed to arrive in Beijing and doesn't, it will launch the most expensive and expansive search in aviation history that still remains unsolved to this day.
Right. Robert Stack, if he was around, he would be on it.
He would be all over this shit.
Yeah.
So long-range military radar taken by the Malaysian military expand the search area after they share the information. So unlike air traffic control radar, which uses transponders in the plane in the ACARS system, military radar works differently. It can track anything in the sky just about.
Right.
The military radar determined that shortly after turning off the ACARS system, the pilot drastically changed the plane's course.
Okay.
At first, it is a very subtle turn to the right, followed by an extremely sharp, prolonged turn to the left, headed back the way it came, back to Malaysia. It traveled over Malaysia before turning right again at the small island of Penang. Okay. It then went northwest until it left the military's radar coverage, and it took it hours to do this. The plane is up there flying around, and
it's going a crazy direction.
It's going a crazy direction, and the Malaysian government and the Malaysian Airlines know this. They know the plane is still in the air. They know the people might still be alive.
Are they like, hey?
No. No.
Why?
Yeah, why? Because I feel like if this was in the United States, we would scramble fighter jets to go find the plane. And that did happen, but they didn't find it.
Well, at least be like, hey.
They did not tell the families. They did not tell the press. They did not tell the search and rescue teams who were out looking for the plane, because it would have narrowed the search area. In fact, the search and rescue teams in the first 3 days of the search were searching in the completely wrong area.
I feel like I saw that in the news at some point.
Yes, what happened is they were searching in the area where the ACARS system got turned off when they were approaching Vietnamese airspace.
Well, it makes sense, yeah.
They were in the complete opposite direction.
Right.
So the Malaysian military and government wasted time, precious time, and resources on a wild goose chase because they didn't want to share the information that they had from their radar systems.
Yeah.
In addition, time was of the essence because the black box in the airplane has batteries inside it that even if the plane crashes, explodes, etc. is in the bottom of the fucking ocean, the black box still has power to it. But those batteries are not indefinite. They only last a few days.
What if the lithium battery was in the black box?
No.
Okay.
The black box did not make the plane go down, although that's
my new theory. Everybody QAnon, get on it. No, I'm kidding.
No, we don't want them to pay attention to us. It'd be bad.
I just saying shit.
Yeah, but I think it's really strange how if you want to find this plane, then why aren't you sharing the information that would find the plane? Because if the black box sends out a signal when the plane crashes,
Everybody
right?
be acting the fool is what you're saying.
The Malaysian government's acting the fool.
Well, yeah, that's some people.
Yeah. But everybody else just wants to find it,
yeah,
obviously.
That's true.
Like the whole world's governments have sent help.
Yeah, it was in the news for a lot.
Yeah, so
I remember, yeah.
You have to ask yourself, why the fiddle fucks would they do that? We'll get to the theories in just a minute. Yeah. Over the next few days, thousands of miles of ocean are searched in areas that radar picked up Flight 370, because they eventually do share the information. Theories were flying around like mad, but what really happened to cause the plane to deviate from its course? And if we had radar data, then why can't we fucking find it? Because there's more radar data, and we'll get to that. During this time, further satellite data was analyzed. So a plane has something called a SATCOM, and that's a satellite communication terminal that's on it. Not all planes do, but this Boeing 777 did. Now, the plane will ping into the system. It logs into the system before it takes off.
Okay.
And then it pings various satellites as it goes, and it does this automatically, like it's a systems check.
Like a relay system.
It is a relay system.
Yeah.
Prior to takeoff, Flight 370 logged onto its SATCOM, establishing a connection with a ground station in Perth, Australia. So its connection went to a satellite, then it goes to Perth, right? This is normal. And it's then tethered. The connection, though, was switched off a couple hours after the ACAR system was switched off. So somebody on that, okay, another theory we can debunk immediately.
We're getting our tinfoil hats on.
You don't need it. This is just science and true. Right. Is a lot of theories will state mass cabin depressurization. I will talk more about that later, but this didn't happen because somebody made a right turn and then that sharp left turn, and then hours later made another right turn, and then another turn.
They were
to
opening
the
a
left.
portal.
No, autopilot doesn't make turns like that.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
So that means someone on that plane had to still be alive to be operating it. Thus, they had to still be alive too in order to switch off the SATCOM. You have to do that manually. You have to.
This some dude was doing something.
Trying to hide something, obviously. Okay, so that tells me someone on the plane's alive.
Right.
That's really important to note, so put a pin in that as well.
I don't remember their other pin, but we're working on it.
Yes. So 3 minutes after it disappeared from Malaysian military radar, Flight 370's SATCOM logs back in. And this connection remained for 6 hours, meaning the plane was in the fucking sky for a total of over 8 hours. And the reason it crashed, and it's thought to have, is due to fuel exhaustion.
Yeah, because they're just wandering the ocean.
That's exactly what it was doing.
Yeah.
But why? We don't know.
Why?
So I'm sure y'all remember the constant news of the search for this flight, and some debris were eventually recovered years later, like from 2017, I believe, until recently, and a total of about 20 pieces of the plane have been recovered. Not all of those can be verified. But I think up to 16 have been verified to have been from Flight 370. Serial numbers on like the flappy parts on the wings. But where did the plane actually go down and why? And these debris were all recovered in the Indian Ocean off the coast of like Africa on little islands around there, Australia. They've been in like all over there. So this has narrowed the search window even further because there are certain parts of the Indian Ocean that don't have currents that move through the islands these wreckage pieces were found on. So if that has narrowed the search, then why won't the Malaysian government reopen the search? Because it's their plane, other governments and private people that want to help find the plane can't look for it until they give their okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not.
They've not been giving all the information for a while.
No, they're sitting on a lot of information, and I think that's the real conspiracy here.
Right.
So now we're going to get into the theories.
Dang.
Because a lot of things about this are so bizarre. And I first want to address some unknowns that we will just never know until we find the black box of this plane. We just won't know.
No.
It's not possible to know.
Lithium batteries.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Could have been. But here's my thing. If somebody is still alive 6 hours into that, like that long into that flight, is the rest of the plane dead? Is everyone on board dead except for whoever's flying it around? I don't think that's possible. I don't know how you would kill everyone on the plane, but you're not going to be hurt.
300, I mean, little under 300 people.
239.
Yeah, that's a crowd. That's a small town.
It is it's a bunch of people, and there's one pilot, and you mean to tell me they could not get to him? When we think back to, like, I think what was it, Flight 95 with American Airlines, where they rushed the terrorists and drove the plane into the ground in Pennsylvania, why didn't something like that happen?
No.
And on that plane, people were contacting their loved ones via cell phone because they knew something bad had happened. And by this point, when he has turned, when like the SATCOM relogs into the system, that plane is still flying.
Do we know anything about those phone text conversations?
There aren't any. Loved ones got no messages, no phone calls. So that tells me they are dead, maybe for almost the entire time.
But somebody's controlling something is controlling the plane.
Someone or something has to be controlling the plane. And I'm going to say someone because that control had to come from inside the cockpit. It had to.
The call came from inside the plane.
The call is coming from inside the butt.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to lay that out there for everyone to keep in mind as we go over these largely ludicrous theories.
Okay.
So there were, in the days following the disappearance, intel sources from the United States that said Al-Qaeda had planned to hijack a Malaysian airplane utilizing a bomb. This would make sense given the ACARs and SATCOM were switched off manually, but if that were true, then why did the plane just crash into the ocean? Was that the goal? And no one has stepped forward to claim responsibility, and Al-Qaeda loves claiming responsibility for shit they didn't even do.
Right.
And as you usually see in terror attacks, they're quick to, like, huzzah about it, you know?
Right.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So was it a failed attack? And I do think that is possible.
Yeah.
Some people have even speculated that North Korea had the plane hijacked to gather some sort of technology that was supposed to be on board the flight. And I find that dumb as fuck. I don't think that happened.
No. Well,
They can't get their shit together. They can't even keep lights on in that country. I don't think they're hijacking no plane.
No,
Not to say they've never hijacked a plane, because they did in the 60s.
The most they do is explode the ocean sometimes. Like, that's the most they do.
They're really pissed at the ocean. Yeah. Another theory is that a corporation planted explosives on the plane because the plane was full of engineers and scientists from Malaysia and China who were all employees of Freescale Semiconductor, which is a San Francisco-based chip-making company. The loss of all those engineers almost crippled this company because it was like all their good employees.
Right, like I said, it's like a small town of like nerds up in the air is what it is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also believed that there were some people on board that were kind of holding patents that would revolutionize the chip-making process.
We just put it all in one plane.
And then explode it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think so. I think this is stupid. I think there'd be easier ways than hijacking a whole ass plane. I don't buy it.
We're gonna put their smartest guys, like all of them,
just to steal, just so this company could steal the patent and then not pay their employees. I'm not buying it. I think that's dumb.
Dumb.
Here's one. A group called the Chinese Martyrs Brigade. It was supposedly an activist and political group in China that claimed responsibility for the crash of MH370. They sent emails to a lot of journalists, but once people looked into it, no one had ever heard of this group. They didn't seem to exist, and it was determined to be a hoax.
Right. Okay. Chinese Antifa. Got it.
It was Chinese Antifa. No, they didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Another theory is that the passengers and crew are very much still alive. This story emerged when 19 families of the victims of the flight reported to the media that in the days, let's stress that word, following the disappearance of the plane, when they called their loved ones' cell phones, they got ringing, and it didn't immediately go to voicemail until about 3 days later.
That's very spooky.
That is very creepy because, all right, let's say the plane crashed into the ocean. Given how planes usually crash into the ocean when they've reached fuel exhaustion, they hit horizontally. And so that means they fucking explode. You're not going to find debris much bigger than a door in your house. Right. You're probably not even
shredded in the water.
It is completely exploded. Okay. It's like hitting concrete.
Right.
And you're not even going to find whole bodies this way. Organic matter is going to be pulverized.
They don't nosedive. They sort of
splat, belly flop.
Yeah, belly. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So but that also, I don't think it belly flopped, and we'll get to that in a minute. But that would destroy any cell phone. It's going to be in the water. It's going to be blown to bits. They should immediately go to voicemail.
Yeah.
When if I let my phone die right now, and if you tried to call me, it would send you to voicemail.
Yeah.
But their phones didn't do that. They kept ringing.
If it gets in the water, it should be going to voicemail, and that makes sense.
Now, remember when I mentioned Hamid, the co-pilot, turned his phone off? When the SATCOM was disabled and then came back online, he turned his phone back on. Okay. It pinged a cell tower.
Okay.
Now, he never tried to call anyone, but it would be most unusual. And when you're at cruising, you're not supposed to turn your fucking phone on. It can interfere with instrumentation on the plane, so I hear.
Everything was fucking up. It came back online, and then it fucked up again, and that is very strange.
That his phone came, turned on is unusual.
Yeah.
As a pilot, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Unless there was an emergency.
Right, because whatever disaster, whatever
But that is hours. That is 4 hours into this journey of them going the completely wrong way. And look, Hamid would know they were going the wrong way.
Were they in the Bermuda Triangle?
No, they were nowhere near it.
Oh, damn it.
Nowhere near it. Okay, that's near Florida.
No, but what you're saying is that something strange happened, whether it be weird or not weird, and then everything came back on. And then it went off again. So that is strange.
Sort of. Okay, the SATCOM was turned off manually.
Yeah.
And then it automatically logged back into the system.
Yeah.
Because it is designed to keep trying to log in.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when that happened, that is also when Hamid's cell phone was turned on and was picked up by a nearby cell phone tower.
It's weird. That's weird.
That is very strange. Yeah. We have no explanation for it. Now, it is possible he turned his phone on and was not able to connect a call because his signal was too weak. That's possible.
Well, you're out in the ocean.
You're out in the ocean and up 35,000 feet in the air. Yeah. Also, radar data suggests that plane did several intense dives in altitude. Several. And then sharp climbs. Intense dives, sharp climbs.
Very erratic everything.
Indeed. Now, when that plane first goes dark, when it's going into Vietnamese airspace, it takes a very sharp and dangerous left-hand turn. It is a possibility that when this happens, that the cabin is depressurized, but maybe not the cockpit.
That makes sense.
And that would mean that all of those people lose consciousness and then die because they don't have enough air.
Yeah.
And that would leave just the pilot and the co-pilot.
I feel like that's most likely.
However, you mean to tell me the co-pilot isn't going to fucking defend himself and attack the guy? We don't know, but that doesn't seem to be what's happened. Again, the plane's under direct control. There doesn't seem to be a problem with this. It seems like the descents and the climbs were on purpose to depressurize the cabin. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Right? So I think what happened is when the co-pilot gets up to use the restroom.
Okay.
the pilot locks the door from the inside.
I like this. This makes sense, yeah.
And so now he's like banging on the door like, hey, let me in. We're going the wrong way.
What are you doing? Yeah.
And
I don't know why he's Italian, but...
No, he's Malaysian, so that would be very strange.
Stupid.
So then he tries to turn his phone on, can't get a call out, cabin's depressurized. It runs until it runs out of fuel, and it crashes into the ocean. Here's something you will hear a lot on YouTube and Reddit, is that the pilot went over the island of Penang because it was his hometown, and he wanted to give it one last look.
Okay.
However, due to the position of the plane and its altitude at the time it flew over Penang, he would not have been able to see it from his side of the window.
Would he know where he is?
He would.
Maybe that's good enough.
I guess, but I think why fly over it if you can't even see it? Cloud cover would have prevented it.
Yeah.
In addition, it would have been on his co-pilot's side, not on his side.
Right.
So if he's wanting to see it, he could have turned the plane in a way to see it.
Yeah,
but
he's driving all crazy.
He turned away from it
Yeah.
instead. So what does that mean? We don't know.
Yeah.
So I just like pointing these things out because it's fun.
Yeah. This is spooky. I hate it.
Yes. So I don't think that the crew is still alive. I don't think the plane was hijacked, landed somewhere else. The crew was sold into organ harvesting and sex trafficking because that's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not going over that one. I don't blame family members for wanting to believe that. I understand that. I would want to believe that too.
There's hope there.
Because there's hope there.
Yeah.
But I think these people are deceased.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite theory, doesn't mean I believe it, but I just like it, aliens. Because, of course.
Oh, God.
And this is why I put this on Merris Monday. Also, it's an unsolved mystery, and we love those.
Yeah.
Now, normally, I would dismiss the alien theory completely outright and think that it's stupid.
Right.
However, there has been a video circulating on Reddit that shows a commercial passenger plane, a Boeing 777, and it looks, the tail markings look like it's a Malaysian 370. And it's being circled by spherical UFOs, and then bam, there's a flash of light, and the UFOs and the plane are gone.
Okay.
Now, this video has proved impossible to debunk on Reddit, and they love debunking the shit out of stuff. They've had visual effects artists that can't debunk it. They have had people who've worked on aircraft and like engineers. Nobody can debunk it because of the clouds in the video. In visual effects, clouds are literally the hardest thing to make look real.
I feel like, come on.
That's not the only reason.
Okay.
There's also some data embedded in the digital information that suggests this comes from a highly sensitive and formally secret satellite that the United States has, and it is a reconnaissance satellite. Data from that satellite on the date of March 8th, 2014 show that that satellite was in position over the Indian Ocean and definitely could have taken the footage.
Yeah.
And it's stereoscopic 3D image. So what that means is it's a very sophisticated camera that has to take a picture of that, right? That satellite is equipped with a stereoscopic 3D camera. It's really wild. So I'm going to link that video because y'all are going to want to look at it. And of course, if it gets debunked, I'll be first up here on Merris Monday going, that was some bullshit, but it looks really good. I don't know. This video was uploaded about, it was 2 months after the plane went missing. It was uploaded anonymously to an account that no longer exists, according to the Wayback Machine. They've possibly attributed it to someone, but they're still kind of looking into it. And that person is deceased. Yeah, we love it. Do I think it's aliens? I don't fucking know. I don't think so, but I don't know. That video's pretty compelling. Another theory that is dumb as hell is the U.S. accidentally shot down the plane during a training exercise over the Indian Ocean. No, it didn't. That's been debunked all the hell and back. Some believe that the plane was brought down because its ACAR system and SATCOM system were hacked by hackers, and they went, I'm in, because that's what hackers always say in those movies. I'm in.
They have the typing sound.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, it's not. Yep, it was a hacker.
Yeah, there is. Hackers were in.
Yeah.
That did not happen. That is stupid. Boeing came out and said that is not even possible as far as we know, because they are not, these things aren't on networks.
Right.
They're on what's called like a closed network, meaning it's going to be air traffic control, and that's it.
Yeah.
And even if you hacked in the ACARS and the SATCOM, that doesn't necessarily get you control of the plane.
I think we would notice if air traffic control was hacked.
I think we would notice if air traffic control was hacked. Stupid.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Now, here's the theory that I believe. The plane was part of a murder-suicide plot. Captain Zahari is suspected by Malaysian authorities of crashing the plane in order to commit suicide and to make a political statement. He was Muslim and had some pretty extreme beliefs. And I'm not saying Muslim people crash planes or are terrorists. I'm saying this guy was.
Right.
And I'm only noting it because he was the equivalent of a fundy. Okay. He was a fundamentalist and had a lot of very extreme beliefs. And he was struggling with depression and had been for a while, so much so there was some debate over letting him continue to do his job. Zahari would have known how to turn off the ACARS and SATCOM, but how did he do this without his co-pilot noticing? Easy. He locked him out of the cabin. He locked him out of the cockpit. Or the guy was so green and so new. This was his first flight on a Boeing 777 without
this is the first time on this particular plane.
Without a flight instructor present.
Yeah.
Now, Zahari was a seasoned pilot, so of course he was capable. But the guy might not have noticed they switched. Well, that left turn, ain't nobody not noticed that. Everybody would have noticed that. Shit would have gone flying
like
everywhere.
Your theory that maybe at that point he was already locked out or something.
Possibly. And then his phone coming on several hours later, maybe he regained consciousness after the cabin was depressurized. I don't know. It's just impossible to say. In addition, Zahari had a flight simulator at home. And y'all, this thing was legit. It was like 3 computer monitors and everything.
It's like a room setup, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And he practiced on this, and he had deleted, like the day before this flight, a flight path that was eerily similar to the one the plane went on when it deviated from its normal path. The simulated path ended with the plane crashing into the ocean. The reason this is denied by the Malaysian government, even though the Prime Minister has told people he believed this theory, is that if they make it official, they would have to pay the victims' families a lot of money. Because one of their pilots, he's a government employee. Malaysian Airlines is owned by the government.
Yeah.
So they would have to pay restitution to these families.
Once again, a lot of people.
Yes. Now, it's still a conspiracy, but that doesn't make it not true. The Malaysian government knew that the plane deviated from its flight path minutes after it happened, yet they kept this from the public, from the agonized families, and from the rescue and search efforts. Like they didn't want it found. They kept this information for days, wasting all this money and time. Why? Well, it makes sense if this is a cover-up. Maybe they didn't want the plane to be found at all. Why even suspend the search if people are still volunteering to search for it? It makes little sense unless you look at it from a conspiracy angle. Of course, they don't want them to find the black box to show that Zahari was responsible and did a murder-suicide. Now they have to pay all these families. Also, it's just bad press, man. Yeah. Nobody wants to take credit for that shit. And I think this is the most likely theory. So here's a theory why we haven't found any more debris. Because we found very little. We should have found a lot. If the plane runs out of fuel, and it drops from the sky, which is what would happen. It's not gliding, it's dropping. Yeah. It's going to hit like a belly flop on the plane's belly, and that's going to shatter it into a bajillion million pieces.
Big, a big kapow.
A very big kapow. Also, to note, this is important. There are underwater recording stations that keep track of geological events like volcanoes and earthquakes and shit.
Right, yeah.
It did not pick up any crashes that day.
What the fart?
I'll explain why this is possible. The plane didn't belly flop. It nosedived at a very slow rate of speed. This would keep the plane almost entirely, not completely, but almost entirely intact, where it would sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, because dude was flight simulator. Basically, you can practice this.
Yes, he practiced it.
Yeah.
So he took the plane down at a low rate of speed, and he chose to drown in the plane. Everyone else, I think, was already dead from depressurization.
I hate that. Ugh.
Yes, but isn't that creepy?
I hate it. Ugh.
Now, there have been instances of ghost flights, which is where you have complete depressurization in both the cabin and the cockpit, and on autopilot, the plane will just keep flying till it exhausts its fuel. Mm-hmm. And this has happened in the United States before.
Yeah.
And we sent up fighter jets, and we could see everybody probably dead in the plane.
I hate that.
Yeah. But I don't think that's what happened here.
Okay.
I'm still unsure on the depressurization. I'm not sure if some of his, climbs and descents and sharp turns would have rendered everyone unconscious.
Well, I'm thinking he's just going to keep doing it till it work.
I guess so, and that is possible, but it's not probable. The plane, why didn't the oxygen mask drop down? They would have.
Well, we don't know because there's no wreckage, or do we know?
We don't know, but they would have. Okay, so if the cabin suddenly depressurized, the oxygen mask will automatically drop down.
Right.
If that happened, then you put them on your fucking face.
And no matter what he does, you're okay.
Fine, at least for a few minutes.
Well, I'm thinking, what if he's just driving around till everyone passes out?
He could. However, you mean to tell me in that time, they've got minutes, at least 5 to 10, with the oxygen. You mean to tell me they are not texting and calling loved ones?
That's true.
Something about this is fucked.
It is.
And I don't understand it. A fire, or an explosion from the lithium batteries does make sense, but then you still have intelligent control of the plane. Mm-hmm. If it belly flopped, which it would have done if it had exploded in the air, or, if it caught fire and dropped out of the sky, or if it fuel exhaustion. But that's not what happened. It went in a slow descent.
Whatever happened, it's weird that nobody's been, unless nobody had signal, just straight up, there's just no signal.
I don't know how none of them had, some of them had sat phones on theirs, which is satellite phones, because they're, engineers and shit.
Yeah.
Some of them had sat phones.
Okay.
These are turned off. Something's weird going on. Something weird is going on that nobody was able to send out anything.
Yeah.
That one man took out all these people all by himself. Something's not adding up. It's fishy as fuck. Some other part of the plan we don't know about happened.
I'm sure that video is bullshit, but I don't want it to be.
I do. I don't want them to kidnap whole planes. That's fucked. And what did they want with the people?
We want to know if that's a thing. We got we got to know.
Let me give this to the alien debunkers real quick before we're done with this episode. So, the presence of any wreckage, to some people, debunk the alien teleportation theory, right? No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why. So, if you know anything about cattle mutilations, and I'm using this as an example because that's an abduction. They abduct the cow.
Hold on, where's my tinfoil hat for real?
Get it on your head.
It's on.
Is it firmly attached?
It is firm.
Is it? Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with me.
We got to do the pod. Come on.
I'm doing it. I'm doing the pod.
Yeah.
So they'll take the cow, they'll cut all of its genitals off for some fucking reason I don't understand, and take its eyeballs.
They're tender bits.
While the animal's alive.
Fresh. I don't know. Ugh.
They paralyze it with their fucking mind magic, and then they do all this nasty shit to it while it's alive. How do they know? Necropsies of dead cows have shown that the injuries were done to the animals while they were alive.
That's so
And what
gross.
kills them isn't blood loss, because these wounds are cauterized.
Yeah.
It is being dropped from a great height. Their legs are shattered. So, if the aliens took the stupid plane and it's in another dimension, they do whatever bullshit, put stuff up our butts, and then they just drop it into the ocean.
Right.
That would make sense.
They drained the plane of blood, and they took the
plane's genitals.
Yeah. So, these are facts. Anyone could look this up.
And then it broke the plane's legs, and it threw it in the ocean. No.
Little wheels.
I'm just saying that it's quite possible they used whatever they used it for and then just dropped it.
Yeah.
They just went, we're done. Have it back.
Yeah, well, Yeah,
Mean? It's mean.
It is.
Why
mean.
y'all being mean? You
Why?
mean you come all the way from wherever the fuck you from just to be a cunt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, colonizers use the same tactics.
Ah, crap.
Yeah.
Well, then just get to colonizing all fucking ready.
I think they're doing it right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, can it be cool? Can everything be fucking cool? Can we have, like, can everyone get a puppy and, like, universal basic income and health care? I'd like to go to a dentist. No?
No.
Then I'm going to punch you.
Right. I agree.
Makes me mad.
I agree.
But, like, RIP to all those people on the plane. It makes me very sad. And, y'all, my kid gets on a plane in 3 days, and I'm an idiot for looking into this, and now I'm worried.
If there's aliens circling the plane.
I'm not worried about that.
Oh.
God. Ugh.
Well, they're not flying over the ocean. So
I'm worried about how I'm going to be single soon.
No, you're not.
No?
No.
Oh, I guess I'm stuck with you.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what time it is now, Merris? It's not time to get abducted by aliens.
Is it pizza roll time?
No, but I do have taquitos, and I am going to be eating the shit out of those in a minute. It's business time.
Oh, business time.
I'd say I got on my business socks, but it's summer. Who the fuck wears socks in summer?
Who the fuck wears socks?
A Satanist. Somebody who drinks a glass of milk for no reason.
Milk drinkers.
Milk drinkers or sock wearers.
Yeah.
Mark my... And shirt tucker inners. Mark my words. So, yeah, business time. I've got some business to discuss.
Okay.
I made this offer to my patrons on Patreon, and they get a discounted rate because they're awesome. But I'm doing mystery boxes. I got to clear out the very little remnants of my inventory, and this is soap, perfume, candles, art, jewelry, you name it. This mystery box will contain one of each of those things, at least, probably more. A retail value of about $150 to $200.
Cool.
And I have only a couple of these left, so if you are listening to this, get in on messaging me so you can get you one. And it's going to be my previous seasons, like my spring collection, because we are making room for Halloween stuff.
Halloween stuff. And what kind of Halloween stuff are you making?
Bath bombs with little presents in them.
Dang.
Like crystals and shit.
Whoa.
And little witches' cauldrons.
Holy shit.
I am making really cool candles. Like, I can't wait to show you guys. We'll have soap that is themed and lots of fall fragrances because they're the best.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so I'm making room. So come get my inventory before it is gone. Like I said, I literally only have a couple of these left.
Yeah.
But I want them out the house. And here's what you'll get in a mystery box. So you'll get a soap or two. You will get a candle product or wax melts or both. I don't know. You will get an art of some kind. You will get a jewelry of some kind.
Dang.
Who knows? And like I said, like you might get several things. And here's the thing. If there is something you hate, like a smell you hate, or let's say you don't have a bathtub, so bath bombs are out, please message me that so I don't send that to you. Like, for example, someone ordered one and said, I hate cinnamon. Please don't put that in there. Well, I won't.
Yep.
Mystery boxes should be fun, not a box of disappointment.
Right.
You don't want to open it and be like, cool, I want none of this shit.
Yeah, I hate that.
I've had that with mystery boxes, and it's really depressing. So, get in on it. I will make it right.
Don't send me art. I just hate art.
Well, that'd be fucking weird.
Yeah.
Or like, let's say you really hate any skeletons or skulls or anything. Say so, because we paint a lot of that, but not always. We do animals too. So, yeah, just tell me what you want and don't want, and then I'll make it a fun mystery that would appeal to you, because otherwise it's not fun. Also, due to popular demand and people asking nicely, which I like, I am continuing my sale on tarot readings in a combination with a star chart. What is a star chart, Merris?
A star chart is a handmade painting by my own two hands of a date. So it could be any date like October 5th or January 1st, and I take a snapshot of the constellations and stars at that particular date and time. And so, like, let's say you picked June, I would do a painting of Gemini, because it's mostly June, and like the position of the sun and Jupiter and the planet, whatever one was happening at that time.
The way the stars are in the sky on your special date, and this can be a birthday, anniversary, the date of someone's passing, the day you got your pet, whatever date. He can do.
Yeah.
And these, y'all, make the nicest gifts. Merris gave me one for my birthday last year. And man, it is like one of my prized possessions. It's so beautiful. And if you want to see examples of how pretty these are, they are on his Instagram, which is linked in our link tree. But I will link it in the description of this post too. Now I want to talk about our Patreon. It is amazing. I looked, we have over 661 posts. So if you have binged all of our regular episodes, you need to get on our Patreon because we have about 150 episodes you haven't heard. Dang. We release 3 to 4 extra episodes a month on our Patreon, and that's for the $5 and up tier. We have an after episode discussion tier, which is $1 a month. So we kind of have something for everyone's budget. Definitely go check that out. It is very cool.
Yeah.
I am also running a contest right now that if you become a patron, me, Willow, and Merris, possibly producer Will, I have to talk to him, but I'm not firm on that yet, will make a big prize package for you. And we're going to enter everyone who becomes a $5 and up patron into a drawing for a really cool bunch of prizes from us. And it could contain all manner of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, we have another little contest running that if you leave us a review, and it is nice, and you send a screenshot of that to us, we'll enter you to become a $5 patron. If you're already a patron, don't worry, we'll bump you up a tier.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very fun. Also, join our Discord. That's free. If you want to look at case photos, you can go to our Patreon. That is free to look at. We didn't take those pictures. We're not going to get paid for them. Those are all in our public posts. In addition, another perk to being a patron is you get to vote on our monthly themes and what Patreon cases we do next. And I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I think it's all the business I have. Oh, I've got more business.
Dang.
Hold on. I found more business.
All right. You found it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a small business? Would you like to sponsor this podcast? I believe since we're a small business, and if you're a small business, we should work together to help each other. We will advertise for you and hopefully drive some sales to your site. All I ask is that you have made this with your own little sweet baby hands.
Yeah.
No
AI,
MLM.
No. No letters. No AI. No MLM.
No, none of that stuff. You need to have made it yourself. And I'm not into resale stuff. Hey, that's a fine hustle and I appreciate it, but I want this to be something that somebody's made. So please get in touch with me and we will work something out. We like helping small businesses. In fact, all of our t-shirt sales are soon moving away from TeePublic and they're going to a small business instead because we want to support small businesses.
Yeah.
But that's it. And if all you can do to support this podcast is listen, well, please know that we appreciate that greatly. We have a lot of new listeners. So hi.
Hello.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing.
No.
We're just two idiots in Arkansas that don't know anything.
2 idiots in Arkansas. 3 if you want to count Willow. I mean, Willow could be 2 idiots.
Maybe
4.
2.5.
Yeah.
Because she's short.
Right, that's true.
Or just 2 because you're also short. So we could stack you guys on top of each other and maybe you form one fully formed adult.
Well, there's producer Will, and he's really tall, so that's 2 idiots in him.
He's at least 2 idiots.
This is American math.
I need a banana for scale.
I'm at least 3 bananas long.
At least. At least. You're a very small husband.
Yeah.
Pocket husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough of this nonsense. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Us on your social media platform of choice. Linktree/cruelty has all the links. Check out our Patreon for exclusive episodes, merch, ad-free episodes, live ghost hunts, and much more. Please be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded weekly. Thank you so much. See you next time. Music and production by Libby.